What's up, everybody? Brian Tong here, and welcome to the Apple Bits for everything good and bad inside the world of Apple. Hey, iOS gets a big update before iOS 14 drops. Apple Silicon is coming to more than one Mac by the end of this year, and in celebration of World Emoji Day this week, we got new ones. All right, let's start off with iOS and iPadOS 13.6 that you can download right now. Typically, updates this late in the lifecycle don't offer much, but it's different this time around because Apple's like, hold on, we still got something for you. Specifically, BMW owners, all 14% of you in the US, you can rejoice because CarKey support is here today. We know that Apple showed it off in iOS 14 at WWDC, but you'll now be able to use an iPhone with iOS 13.6 or an Apple Watch with the latest watchOS 6.2.8 to unlock your car. Look, ma, no keys. Now, BMW is the first Apple partner out of the gates, and if you're fancy like that, it works with the BMW series 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, X5, X6, X7, X5M, X6M, and Z4. It also works with an iPhone XR, XS, or higher, and then you'll need an Apple Watch Series 5 or eventually higher, so you might need to upgrade there. Also, in the new iOS, Apple News will bring audio versions of stories that are some of the best reads from the subscription-based Apple News Plus. We're not talking about the free Apple News. And I know you'll have to be subscribed, but I actually like this feature, and even better, this is great for accessibility users. There will also be a new feature called Apple News Today. That's a free audio briefing on the day's top stories, and it will also be available in the podcast app. A new audio tab will make it easy for you to find Apple News Today and Apple News Plus audio stories. Another one, CarPlay owners will be able to listen to that content on the road, and more stories from local news providers will come to News Plus. We've heard a lot about the reports of Apple News Plus being one of Apple's weakest services right now. We know that the New York Times completely pulled out of it, but if you're still a current subscriber, you've got to really be happy about this new push with these new features and improvements. The Health app adds a new section for symptoms where you can log them in the cycle tracking or ECG apps, or have the ability to share them with third-party apps as well. These are all typically things you do not want to deal with if you can avoid them, but tracking them helps give more details to follow. And then for medical professionals, but erections lasting longer than 6 hours are not one of the symptoms available. There are other bug fixes in iOS 13.6, but the big one, your iPhone and Apple Watch can now unlock your BMW. So congrats to the 14%ers, because more car manufacturers, they're going to be jumping on real soon. All right, let's stick with iOS, and we've got to talk about Emojis! It was World Emoji Day this week, and Apple revealed what their take on some of the new emojis will look like in iOS 14. And these are some high-quality emojis. Apple doesn't mess around here. Even look at the detailing of the nesting dolls emoji from Apple, because here's a peek at what it looks like on other platforms. It's okay. Now, you know I love my boba and beavers. I even had a reaction video with the announcement of all the 150 plus drop that you can check out as well. But again, these are just a handful of them. And then there's the very interesting pinching fingers emoji. It does look like a ball fondler to me, so I guess it just depends on your perspective. Now, you can expect to see Apple's new batch of emojis in one of the updates to iOS 14 when it launches. We're talking either iOS 14.1 or even 14.2, usually a month or two after the new iOS drops. So at least that's what they've done over the past few years. Okay, let's jump over to the Mac. It's got its own update with macOS Catalina 10.15.6. The biggest fix here was an issue that caused USB 2.0 accessories like mice and trackpads and others to lose their connection to the 2020 MacBook Air and MacBook Pro models. That has been resolved here. It also takes advantage of the new Apple News features and will start showing local stories in the Today feed if you live in the San Francisco Bay Area, Los Angeles, Houston, and New York City areas, but nothing showed up for me just yet. Plus, the ability to optimize video streaming on HDR-compatible Macs for improved battery life. But the big Mac story, the computer, not the burger, which is very tasty, but we're talking about the computer. It's always going to be, when are we going to get the first Apple Silicon Macs? And the latest reports from Digitime says Apple is set to release a new 13-inch MacBook Pro and a MacBook Air powered by Apple Silicon by the end of this year. Now, Apple said we'd see the first Mac, by the end of 2020. Digitime's reports we will see two. Ming-Chi Kuo earlier reported we'd see just the 13-inch MacBook Pro in either the fourth quarter or the first quarter of 2021. And I can't wait for this and just really see how much performance we can actually get out of an optimized A-series chip in the MacBook Pro 13-inch. And then on top of that, how much battery life can we squeeze out of it? Because that model is really the sweet spot for the best Apple portable for most people. And if you haven't checked your email or your spam folder, you might have missed it, but you can now file to receive that roughly $25 settlement from BatteryGate from Apple if you're a previous owner of the iPhone 6, 6 Plus, 6S, 6S Plus, and then iPhone SE. Those had to run iOS 10.2.1 or later, and then iPhone 7 or 7 Plus that had to run iOS 11.2 or later. And you know, I got all excited because I owned 3 of those, but then when you're filling out this form, they ask you for the serial numbers of all of them, and I have none of them right now. Maybe you do, but I don't. And then I tried through their search on the website for them. I even went to mysupport.apple.com, that website where you can see your devices that you purchased with AppleCare, but it only went as far back as the iPhone 7. None of the serial numbers there worked for me, so I'm just going to tell you right now, from my experience, it's going to be dang hard to even see any of the settlement unless maybe you've been keeping a detailed records of the serial numbers of all the iPhones you owned in the past. One of you has, but you know, maybe I'll try to call Apple support, see if I can get deeper into the archives of what I owned. But you always know, like, these type of things are never easy, so I just wish you all the best. I think we're all gonna need it. And I know a lot of you were also hoping for some love for the 11-inch iPad Pro, the Magic Keyboard case. We all want a little more functionality, right? Well, Logitech has stepped up with the new Logitech Folio Touch. It's an all-new keyboard case with the trackpad design for the 2018 and 2020 11-inch iPad Pros. It has the adjustable kickstand design, and that also means you can fold that cover all the way around to the back to use it completely flat, something that the Magic Keyboard can't do. Now, the keyboard is powered by the smart connector. Apple has worked with Logitech on previous cases, so you're going to be getting the same exact functionality and gestures on this Logitech Folio Touch that you can with the Magic Keyboard. It'll be available this month for $160 on their website and Apple's. But hey, Logitech, I'm talking to you. Can you make one for my 12.9-inch iPad Pro? Yeah? Yeah, cool. Okay. Thanks in advance. Maybe. All right, that's going to do it for this video. You know the drill. If you like what you see, give me that thumbs up, subs up, and hit that notification bell, ding, to get all my videos when they drop. Plus, if you want to just dive even deeper, you can check out my weekly podcast, the Apple Bits XL, where we cover it all with special guests. And all my content is independent, and I'd love your support at patreon.com/Brian Tong. It supports the podcast and really everything that I do. So thanks so much for watching, everybody, and we'll see you next time. Peace.